So now we're going to look at a couple problems in dealing where we have multiplication and division in an algebraic equation and we want to solve for them. So let's take the first one. We're going to do, let's say we have 10z equals 100. Now since we have the multiplication here, and you recall that we have our PEMDAS or PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or parenthesis, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. When we're solving algebraically, we're going to go in reverse order. And so in this case, we're only dealing with one unit operations, which is multiplication or division. If we had more, which we'll have in another video, you'll see how we use this a little bit more clearly. So here we have a multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide by 10 on this side. When we do that, they cancel each other out and you end up with 1. So this ends up being z on this side, or 1z. But what we do to one side, again, we have to do to the other. So we'll divide this side by 10, and we end up with 100 divided by 10, which is 10. And so therefore, z equals 10. So let's look at another problem where we have plus 33 r equals 330. So we're going to do the same thing here. We have a multiplication, so we will divide by our 33. This becomes a 1. What we do to one side, we must do to the other, so we're going to divide this by 33. And we end up with r on this side, and 330 divided by 33 is going to be equal to 10 as well. So in another one, let's assume that we have a divided by 5 equals 40. Now, in this case, this is really a division, so it looks like a fraction, but if you recall, a fraction is nothing more than a division. So since this is a division, the opposite of division is going to be multiplication. So we're going to multiply this by 5. In reality, it could be 5 over 1. We will cancel these out, and we're left with a on this side. And what we do to one side, since we multiplied by 5 over here, we multiply by 5, we're going to multiply by 5 on that side. So we're going to multiply by 5 here, and this ends up being a equals 200. And that's our final answer. If we get something a little bit more complicated, say we have 2/5 m equals 10. Now here we have a pure fraction, 2 divided by 5, so which is multiplied by m. The way to get rid of a fraction is to multiply it by its reciprocal. The reciprocal is just flipping it. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this by 5 over 2. Now as you can see, if you cancel these out, the 5's cancel out and the 2's cancel out, and we're left with 1 as the coefficient here, or the multiplier for m, which is what we want. So since we multiplied it by 5/2, we're going to multiply by 5/2 on the other side, 5 over 2. So when we bring this down, we end up with m equals, since the 2 here cancels with the 10, being 5, so it goes in, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 10 5 times. We multiply the 5 and the 5 straight across, and we end up with m is equal to 25.